bang, bang.
Big topic.
Book.
I'll start real quick just because I'm, I
You always
have
pawn
certain.
it off on somebody else. That's why.
Yeah,
You
I don't
go. You go
like
this
doing that
time.
all the time. But yeah, so I don't personally own a gun. Wife and I for a long time have discussed, hey, what do you do? Somebody steps up at your house. Should you have one? Should you not? Do you, should you just count on the cops and et cetera, et cetera? My feelings are I'm not against guns. I'm not against people who have guns. Do I believe that it presents a danger if they're in the wrong hands? Absolutely. But then again, so does a vehicle, right? You get somebody out there who just wants to do damage, or a baseball bat. It doesn't matter. If somebody's willing to do harm with something, the gun's not going to shoot people on its own. So um, I'd be okay with owning a gun. It's it's the same with me as it is with the COVID shot. Like, I'm okay with the COVID shot. A lot of the times I just don't do it because I'm lazy. I'm like, dude, I'm fine. I don't have any issues. I have not been sick. I feel great. I'm not going to go do it. With the gun, it's going to be one of those things where something stupid is going to have to happen, something unfortunate. And we're going to look back as a family and say, it probably would have been best if we had some kind of weapon that we could use to defend ourselves. Mace is not going to cut it. Freaking tasers are not at the place where I think at the moment we'd feel comfortable in using it. So yeah, my personal experience has been, again, I'm not against it. I'm not against people who have it. I have some issues with those who kind of are too forward with it, in the sense that they want to plaster it in your face and want to carry it all the time. And I do feel like it could present a danger in that it makes people believe they're tougher than they are. So any small argument that before could be handled a different way, all of a sudden they're pulling their shirt up, or they're brandishing it somehow and showing it. And I don't like where that's at. Of course, then you have the issue with kids at the house finding the gun, not knowing. There's so many deaths that happen, at least in this country, where kids accidentally shoot themselves, shoot others. So as usual, man, I'm right in the middle. I could have a gun, not have a gun. That's just kind of where I'm coming from, and there's more to come from me. But D, where do you sit with that?
I'm gonna let Scuba speak on it.
Or Scuba. We know Scuba's got some strong feelings on that.
Well, well, I mean, I don't know. It really depends on how you're classifying gun control. Yeah, sure. There's going to be lots of people that are going to have. They're definitely going to have their reservations when it comes to somebody having a firearm. And I used to be one of those people that I never had a firearm, never necessarily had a desire to want one. I had a client of mine that was kind of, probably not in the good state of mind, but I didn't know that at the time. Like, it was, I'm just meeting. It's a client. You know what I mean? I meet with somebody and here I am just there to potentially, provide them with a service. So I'm having this discussion with him about our services, what we do, of course, and, what they're looking. Well, he goes on to explain why it is he's looking to obtain these services. And it's because he has a arsenal of weapons. I mean, he's got every kind of, firearm that I'm even aware of, everything from 9mm handguns, 45s, assault rifles, shotguns,
Wow.
I mean, knives, you name it. I mean, a ton of different
Was he Army
stuff.
guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I think he was just really kind of more of a gun collector. I think he liked just owning I mean, he definitely had interest in firearms, of course, obviously. I mean, who the hell's going to have that much in firearms? So we're protecting, what we're trying to protect is about, I would say he had to have close to almost $1 million in firearms.
Wow.
So yeah, so like it was a ton of stuff, and he had it. I mean, it was all over his house, and he's got a large house. This isn't like some 1,500 square foot home that all these weapons are in. This is in like a house that's probably about 4,000, 4,500 square feet, somewhere around there, and it's almost littered in his closet, like his master bedroom closet, and then and other areas where he's kind of showing it off in more of a art kind of setting, but literally it's just everywhere on the walls in certain areas. And anyway, so we're going through all these areas and we're upgrading some stuff, and we're making all these improvements to help. His concern was if somebody were to get into his home that they would take those things, but not necessarily because they would just take those things, more than he was concerned that would make it out into the streets. Right? Like ultimately, which, it's a valid point. I think as any sort of responsible gun owner, you would want to take the right precautions. He didn't have any kids. He had means for it of being locked up in the areas, but ultimately it was going to be, kind of one of those things where, they're just locked up all the time. So when they're not in use. So anyway, so go on. We end up doing this project and doing all these things, and it's me, just really me at the time. Well, in that meeting, in the initial meeting, he's showing me. We get in front, and we're in a mud room, and he's got this big ass safe. It's probably just about as tall as I am. It's about a little, maybe like we're right around 6 feet or so tall, and as we go and we're standing in the mud room discussing what we're doing in that area. Well, then he shows me some of the stuff that's in this safe. He pulls out this, he's got multiple firearms in there, a bunch of handguns, and then he's got some long arm rifles and that kind of thing. And he pulls one of them out that he had just purchased recently, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I just got this one. Check it out." And he's like showing it to me. He's like showing me all the different, things on the, on the grips and details on the firearm, etc. And so he takes it, and as he's showing it to me, he points it into the safe, and then he proceeds to pull the trigger on it. And
what?
As soon as he pulls the trigger on it, shot goes off. Boom.
Oh, damn.
And I'm standing there. I'm just like, and then finally I was like, why the hell are I literally was like this. I'm just staring there, and I'm kind of standing there, and like, because it happened so fast, my head is like, my ears are ringing. And I was like, why the hell are my ears ringing? And then I literally was like, did that the gun just go off? Like, what the I turn and look at him, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, and I turn and I'm like, "Why? Am I bleeding?" He's like, "No." I was like, I don't think so. What? Like and I mean, I'm having a hard time hearing him too. Like, he's kind of yelling, and so that was my first experience of that. And anyway, he was a nut job and was probably meted out and proceeded to tell me that he didn't know that the firearm was loaded. And I was like, I think I did say to him, I said, isn't the first rule of like owning a firearm, especially if you're going to pull the triggers, to make sure it's not loaded or you've cleared the chamber, And so, and I'm not obviously not a gun guy. I don't know that. I just kind of know that just as common sense, I guess. I don't know. And so, yeah, after that, I decided, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna go learn some about some guns in case I ever get around some. Yeah. So I went and started. I went and I purchased one. Then I went and got. I didn't end up finishing, I think, getting my concealed weapons permit, but I did go through the whole process and everything, and just learned about a firearm, how to shoot one. How to clear the chamber, how to do some of those things that that you minimally should probably know about a firearm, especially if you're going to be around it. Not that I was planning on being around it some, but then I started making me think about definitely protection at home, being in certain scenarios and having a means of really protecting myself. The first thing that I really think of when it comes to shooting a firearm is it's gonna sound ridiculous, is not having ear protection
Mm. Yeah,
because I have
that's
tinnitus already. So
yeah.
it's bad enough that my ears ring as it is. So I don't think that I want to listen to my ears ring. You know, you shoot a firearm off, man. These things are loud as hell. I mean, they're controlled explosions, basically. You know.
That's the one thing that I think people don't because I've had the chance when I was in VA a few times. Guys from work we had a gun range behind the company where we worked at, and they'd go shoot all the time. And a couple of times I got invited, and man, oh man, like you have, of course, your the equipment to protect your ears, but you still the sound is it's like super loud. And so that's one thing
Oh
that people
yeah.
don't think about. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna get a gun and I'm gonna protect my health, but when you let that thing go, man, it's if unless you're used to it, I guess it that itself can like kind of daze you and put
Oh
you in
yeah.
almost like in a
Absolutely.
trance where you're like, what the
Absolutely.
hell just happened? Case in point, which you're just like almost lost for that split second. You lose like where you're at, and then you come to almost, but you're standing there the whole time, and it's just odd, man. Like when you're not prepared for it to be that loud, it just throws you off.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the control part of it, you know, controlling firearms definitely has its place to a certain degree, but not unless, you know, not if it's infringing upon, you know, the right of bearing arms. You know, if you're trying to really try, if, you know, again, it seems like everything today starts to become political,
Hmm.
and that, you know, politicians are trying to remove certain things that are instilled in this country, and there was, you know, reasons for that. But, you know, I mean, having a firearm wasn't so that you can necessarily shoot other people per se. When it was written, it wasn't about like I'm protecting myself from, you know, so and so that might try to rob me. That wasn't I don't think that was the intention of that, of uh right. The right, the reason why that right was to exist was in case government tries to overthrow the people.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, it gives power back to the people, um, to be able to, you know, again, when government starts getting involved and trying to control people's lives, and they're going, hey, you know, this is America. We're founding this on being free. We have to have some form of protection in case militias or our own military are basically sent out to, I don't know, disarm us. I mean, however
Hmm.
you want to label it. I mean, that's kind of I think the premise of at least that Second Amendment when it comes to firearms. That's why that's really high up on the list, by the way, if you didn't notice.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break
Take a
here to
break.
get me a quick drink, and then when we come back, we'll hear D's take on this.
A few drinks later.
D, where you at
All
on that?
right.
D, what's your take on this?
Gun
The infamous
control.
gun control and gun topic. It's always a fun one. Definitely interesting to get every angle here if we can.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think me personally, I think everyone should own a gun. Every single
Totally think so as well.
person.
I'd be
Because if I think if everyone owns a gun, there'll be less killing, less murders. Because
Hmm.
you don't know who's holding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you go, you trying to stick somebody up, you don't know if they carrying that day.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You walk into a 7-Eleven or you know, any store and you trying to rob the store, you don't know if they're carrying or what they're carrying.
Hmm.
They got something bigger than what you got.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? So as far as gun control, guns in the for everyone who's of same mind and body. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you don't want to say, okay, I'm gonna let a 16-year-old or 18-year-old carry a gun, or someone who has, I don't know, PSTD or whatever. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like somebody
PTSD. Yeah.
that, yeah, I mean, the person has to be sane. So you have
Hmm.
to, you know, go take whatever tests and go through all this, you know, training and counseling and all that stuff. Make sure that you're of right mind.
Right.
Because I mean, going back history, you have shooting in schools and things like that, and stuff. Just these mass killings.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. The shootings. Yeah.
They all are obtaining firearms and not always the most legal ways. Some are doing legal ways too. And I mean, I think an understanding of trying to control all that. Definitely still tough though.
And truthfully, in those past situations, what I'm saying, who knows if that person who want to run up in his building with guns blazing, if everyone in that building was able to carry a gun, that person won't make it past 2 people.
That's true. Right.
You know what I'm saying? It won't be a mass killing. It'll be 3 people dead or whatever,
Right.
And dude is dead.
Do you think there's like a situational thing though too that might kick in? Like I've always kind of thought about being in a scenario like that where it's kind of like, all right, I'm chilling in this restaurant, I'm eating, maybe I'm with a family, maybe I'm by myself, whatever the scenario is, right? Maybe and let's say I've got a firearm on me, and in a scenario where somebody comes in and it's like, whether it's a mass kind of shooting type of scenario or if it's just a random robbery or whatever, like do you ever think in those scenarios like what you would actually do? Like some people don't, I think it's a lot of times like the way I can kind of relate to it is being in the military, maybe, where certain guys get in the military and they go and they're out to fight a war. And they think they're good with everything until they're really in the war, and all of a sudden you get a dude who's like, whoa, shit is really real right now. I'm froze. You know what I mean? There's people that might think that they would respond a certain way in any scenario until they're actually in it, and then totally do the opposite because they just don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's me. And that other person, I'm letting go. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's my life, or if that person's trying to take my life, then or my family, or I mean, I'm a real people person. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see anyone hurt. So if there's a situation, if a situation comes about and there's harm to myself or the people around me, whether I know them or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm 99% of the time going to step in and make sure that no one gets hurt. Whether I I mean, I would probably go, send a mask down. You know what I'm saying? Of course. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna go for the biggest part of the body.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna ask and actually bring up is like, because I'll be the first one to say, I mentioned it before. If I owned a gun, of course it would be locked away, which is another contention for people who say, hey, if you're gonna buy a firearm for the house and then lock it, by the time you need it, you're just waking up. You gotta go and you gotta try to remember the code. Like this person's already in your bedroom. You know what I mean? Like it's too late. So there's an argument for some people saying, hey, if you get the firearm, just put it under your pillow or somewhere that's easily accessible and get it loaded. Otherwise, why do you even have a gun? Because if you're going to lock it up so bad, some people will lock it up, not only just lock it up, but then they say extra precaution if they have kids, they won't even have the bullets in it. Right. So now you got to load it, you got to unlock it, then you got to load it. This dude's already in there, doing whatever. So
you're supposed to tell him to hold on. Hey, hang on, man.
Yeah. I'm not ready yet. Yeah,
hang on, man. Hold on, man. I need about a minute and a half. Get all the shit unloaded, unlocked, and pull the chain off, and
that's what
I'm saying. Code and the fingerprint, and
but to your point, and I'll go back to you is at the moment, say you already have it ready. At the moment when you're getting ready to pull that trigger, do you think there's a thought that goes in your head that goes, "Hey, decision. Let me find a mask," or are you just going like because you're seeing red right now?
You're gonna let go. I mean, I would just let go. You know what I'm saying? Just until he dropped. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I think the only thought that will probably, and for a split second, will probably go through my head is, and me as a black man, are they gonna find me guilty? You know what I'm saying? Like the
Dude,
only
right.
thing.
Do you know
that's
the funny
only
part
thing
about I
that's
think
gonna
the
go
funny
through my
part
mind.
about that
You know what I'm
is
saying?
I think that
Yeah.
anybody, regardless of their skin color, would think that I
Like,
put myself in a
are you gonna say
scenario.
it's my fault? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Like this person's in your house, and they
Right,
may
right.
blame you.
right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah,
They-
like that's exactly it. Like in
at
today's
that point,
society.
it's my word against a dead man.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
So they can
Yeah.
flip it any old kind of way they want to flip
Right,
it. You know what I'm
right,
saying? They'd be like,
right.
yeah, well, this, and this, and this. And the next thing you know, I'm in jail
Mhm.
for protecting,
Yeah.
myself or people around me.
Yeah. I know there's certain states that say, I forget what is it, like stand your ground or something like that. If they come into your property, then you can put them down, no questions asked. Or are there certain states where you're not allowed, even
Yeah.
if they come into your house, they're in your bedroom, you cannot shoot them? Is that? I'm not-
believe. I think the latter, what you were saying is, if they come in, you can't kill them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do like a non-fatal shot.
Well, how the hell are you supposed? Like, first of all, if I
Shoot
get
him
one,
in the
I'm not an
leg,
expert. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna put wing your arm.
Right.
Hey man, I
Right.
was aiming for his arm. Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry, I'm a
He
shitty
moved.
shot. It shot him in the head.
He moved.
He
He
moved.
cheated.
Yeah, exactly. He dodged it the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I can't help that.
And then I don't know. I mean, I'm a wild west type dude. So I mean, like I said, I believe everyone should be able to own a gun, and I believe everyone should own a gun, because I think it'll just make everything a little bit safer. Make the person think twice.
Well, it makes you think. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Make you
like,
think twice.
do I
You know,
really want
those
guys
shootings
probably
may have
back it.
never even happened. If they walk into say a theater and they know 80% of that theater is got guns, that dude that shot it at the Batman, I think there was a guy
Yeah.
who went in and shoot it.
The
He's
joke,
not gonna
yeah,
go in there.
right.
Yeah, he's not gonna
Right,
go in
right.
there and think, oh, I'm just gonna shoot everybody. They're all victims. No, they're not all victims. They're
Right.
gonna shoot you back. So you might get 2 or 3, but everybody else is gonna put you down, right?
Right. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's tricky. I mean, but then on a like do devil's advocate, if everybody owned a gun, then what the police gonna do?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
you think the police is hype and scared right now when they pull people over,
Yeah.
and they like,
Yeah.
if that was the case, then they would also have to think, hey, this old lady I just pulled over, is she packing it? Is she pointing at me under the door? Like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Because
you
now
know-
everybody has it. We're back. Hey, so D, quick question. This is something I've heard, and I also don't know if this is something that happens state by state. But because of the mass shootings, the case with the movie theater, the case with a lot of the schools, I thought that they had passed something. Again, maybe it was local or not, but where the teachers in schools were permitted to carry. So if something like this came up again, then they would be able to defend the kids. Obviously, you don't want every kid coming in with a packing, right? But the
Right.
teachers would have it. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something you kind of you believe in? You think that's a good idea, or is that also put, if the teacher's a crazy person,
Right.
can then use that against the kids?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Like I said, if they go through the training, and I mean, you're not going to be able to stop everyone, but what we're trying to stop is the mass killings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The people going into the schools. I mean, even if you let the security guards carry,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You got security guards in all the schools.
Yeah.
Let them carry.
Mhm.
Now, don't let them walk around just go to class. Hey, go to class.
Well, they
hey, go
carry.
to class.
They carry already. They got like mace and stuff.
But
man.
do they
Just need to be
always
mace
carry?
15 feet.
Mace. Yeah.
Oh, they
Hey,
got mace.
come here,
They got
you.
a baton.
Come here, you.
Right.
I'm gonna
Right.
spray you. You
I mean,
son of a
if you're trying
gun.
to protect, if you're trying to protect, people in these buildings, kids, and corporate, people need to have weapons, because these days everyone has a gun. They're not supposed to have one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
true.
everyone has one, and not supposed to have one. And people like us
Mhm.
don't have one.
Right. Right.
who's of
Exactly.
sound mind and body, but we don't have one because we just don't have one.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of chapters. Like we have Atlanta, an Atlanta
Do you have the
chapter.
lambdas, the tri-lambs,
We have an Atlanta chapter.
the
We have
alpha
a North
omegas?
Carolina chapter.
What an
We have,
asshole.
I think we have like 7 chapters. We
Do you
wanted
guys
to
have a
form-
handshake?
Hell no, we don't have a handshake. Not at all.
Man, y'all got to step your game up.
And if he did, he wouldn't teach you because
I
you.
wouldn't-
I want to
wouldn't-
know it. I just want to know it. That way, in case I get caught up
No.
with a 1%er or a non 1%er, I'll know what to do.
So
Sorry.